What I'm going to do really is just talk through our approach to how we work with customers to evaluate technology, how we help to review really what's a best fit for our customers, and also thereafter how we help to manage this process of change, because change is never easy, and as part of it I'll talk through some very innovative things that we saw a number of years back now around building out cloud infrastructure and really looking at how we can take telephony and applications into the cloud, how we can manage cost reduction, how we can manage the delivery of technology, and interesting to hear about the video delivery and the experience, the end user experience of video applications. We're in a world in which there's more and more applications and technology being consumed across the organization, and it's no longer within the confines of a building. It's right across all locations. So it could be home users, could be mobile users, as we've heard, could be other offices, and indeed anywhere in the world. So if we're accessing this technology, we need to be able to control the bandwidth, the delivery mechanisms, and the experience at the edge of application performance. So I'll talk about how we've addressed that with our approach and our services. So just very quickly, if we take a recap, this is Julian welcoming people to the new world. Jump in, the water's lovely and warm. Well, what's the current world like? What has been the traditional view of the telecoms industry and the telecoms market? Certainly what we had seen, and talking through customers and understanding, talking through moreover prospective customers, understanding the sort of experience that's out there in the marketplace, is very much a case that depending upon the organization, people have lots and lots of different suppliers. If it's a distributed organization, they may have different telephone systems, different software levels, different providers for lines and calls, mobile contracts, and actually, it got very confusing. You're getting billing from all over the place, and you're trying to gel all this together. One of the challenges we were seeing working with customers was when we wanted to look at where they're at today, but also most importantly where they need to go in the future, we needed to build out what was a strategy, a program of change for customers. Now, if you're caught up in an environment where there's lots of these different suppliers and lots of contracts, and the contracts start and finish at different dates, it's kind of tough to actually move from this distributed legacy technology world over to this new exciting world that we've heard about today, with new technologies and really reducing the burden and the overhead for management and control. If we want to introduce the video technology, we need an infrastructure to easily be able to add it, to manage it, and support the needs of customers and indeed consumers. We also were looking at this, and due to the architecture of telecoms within a distributed environment, it's a case that we were seeing customers were having to replicate all of their investment across individual locations. So it might be they need a telephone system here, and they need telephone lines and call center software that could be replicated. They might need call recording technology, and before you know it, you're actually building up what is a really big investment and resource overhead across an organization. Now, what we wanted to do was to really challenge that and look at how we could bring together what is centralized resource, centralized applications, and move to that world of principle of shared services. So we've heard public sector talk about shared services for many years. So how can we follow and deliver that same principle within the telecoms marketplace? And beyond that, definitely incredibly confusing. We were seeing customers coming to us saying, look, we don't know what we've got. We've got all of these lines and all of these services and all these contracts. We don't really understand all the bills. We don't really know if we're getting good value for money. We don't really know if we need all of this stuff that we're paying for. You know, can you give us some advice to help us understand what's truly required to meet the needs of our business and our users, as opposed to just we pay for it and that's the budget line and that's what it's always been, and maybe we can renegotiate and make it a bit cheaper, but have we got the right resource to meet the needs of the business? The perfect storm. So I think for me, again, going back a few years ago, we're really in a position where there's lots of change within the world. So you've got the financial pressures, you've got requirements around business continuity, you've got legislation around flexible working and recording requirements. You've got customers in this, this customer economy that we're in, who are looking for enhanced service and speed and efficiency. You've got everyone who's looking at their costs and their overheads. You've got carbon reduction requirements that are, that have come in and will come in even further. You've got the globalization of business, and of course, we're all trying to compete. We're all trying to use technology to leverage the investment that we've got in the people. So we heard about, people working from home. People are an incredibly expensive resource. If you look at the overheads of an organisation, it makes up the largest proportion of most businesses. So how can we use technology more effectively to get a greater return on these people? How can we use technology to retain these knowledge workers and the staff within our business? And I think for me, this is the biggie, is that over recent years, there's been such a massive change in the technology marketplace. We've seen the move from ISDN and PSDN lines and connections over to SIP, which I'll talk through more about later on. We've seen the move from private circuit connections through MPLS to these new next generation networks, which I'll pick up on shortly. We've seen the move in the IT sphere, the IT space, from lots of servers to actually using virtualization technologies to be able to consolidate IT infrastructure and server infrastructure. Lots of other changes, the move from wired to wireless, the move from a phone on a desk to supporting multiple devices, the introduction of BYOD, the greater demand and acceptance of video. So all these changes are going on in the technology space, and for me it is absolutely that perfect storm, as organizations are trying to be more efficient, deliver better levels of service, be more productive, support changing working practices, extended opening hours, give people the control to just do their job without the challenges of, is it going to work? Am I going to have to bring other resource in? Actually connecting people and using technology as that interface to bring people together across organizations, I think is a great opportunity. And this is the last bit here, is do more for less. That's the call that we're all getting today, is this is what we're spending, we need to do more, we need to introduce new technology, but we need to be more efficient, we need to reduce costs. What can we do? So these are the things that we looked at. And again, going back in our industry a few years back, is our market became incredibly competitive. Everyone's market's incredibly competitive, and what we wanted to do is really build upon. We're a 28-year-old business, very long-standing partnerships with customers. We wanted to build upon the value proposition we were taking out to customers. For sure, we wanted to compete from an economical perspective, but we wanted to look at how we could bring all these different technologies and services together and help our customers use technology effectively to support their business, right? It's not about, we could sell this individual widget in digit 2% cheaper than someone else and drive it to a commodity basis. This is where we were at, which was the sort of Tesco's effect, right? Where everyone was trying to sell everything to everyone, and prices were getting squeezed down, and customers weren't necessarily getting the best advice and the best value, and it was just a case of shifting boxes out the door. And for us, that's not sustainable. We want to partner with our customers. We've got a great position where we support many customers 10, 15, 20, 25 years and beyond, and I see our role very much of helping to understand our customers, where they're at, and how we effectively apply technology to drive business improvement, productivity, efficiency, cost reduction. You know, when we start to bring all of these different components together and we look at the overall cost of ownership, we are seeing that we can, you know, we win against, you know, much larger organisations. You know, we take on the likes of, you know, BT. We've won awards for our integration skills, our innovation, which, you know, against multi-billion turnover businesses, based on our understanding of how to glue this stuff together so it just works better for people. They don't have the overhead in their business of trying to manage it. You know, this is, I think, for me, is one of the biggest challenges. You know, you talk about integration, is how do you actually, you go and buy all these different technology components, how the bloody hell do you put them all together? You know, how are you going to support and manage all of those, and what resource and overhead is required in a business to do that? You know, that's tough, right? You know, do you go and train the people? Do you go and recruit the people? Do you outsource it? Do you contract the resource in? You know what? If you try to manage that, it's not an easy thing, right? And if you're looking at how you you actually blend all these different technologies together, you know, the real goal should be about joined up working and effective use of technology, so you can start to introduce automation where applicable. So integration is absolutely key. And you know, what we said is what we wanted to do was to be the first choice managed telecom service partner in the, you know, in our space in the mid market. You know, we've got customers that we work with. You know, I think our biggest customer today is over 500,000 staff worldwide, 43,500 staff in the UK. So we've got some very large customers where we've actually worked with them to deliver some very complex integrated technology solutions. And it's a case of taking that experience and making it available to, you know, to our wider customer base. You know, take the approach of the big outsourcers and SIs and deliver it into customers to really be that partner of choice to take away the challenges and complexities in their business. So we came up with a picture with clouds on, right? Because you know, we're in an industry where everyone's talking about the cloud, but what did it mean to us? Well, we wanted to cloud-enable technology. So, you know, this is going back over, what, 3.5 years ago. We've built out our own environments, our own data center infrastructure. Currently sits across 3 tier 3 data centers. And we took technology from partners such as Avaya, where we're actually been able to host these platforms and services for customers off-premise and manage them for them, where we can take very clever technology that we've built ourselves using what was an acquisition of a software house coming up for 13 years ago, to be able to create application integration and applications that really meet individual customer needs, using some very good middleware technology. So instead of having to go out and do bespoke work each time, we could take these components off the shelf, and we could sort of put these bits of jigsaw pieces together to build out the right picture for an individual customer. Alongside this, we've set up interconnects into tier 1 network providers to take advantage of what is a huge change within the networking space. So, you know, we talk about the availability of bandwidth to the edge, you know, the increase of this, the, you know, fiber in the home. So what we're able to do is to look at where customers are, what applications they require, the bandwidth requirements, and from there build out what is an end-to-end platform to meet the needs of customers. Now, hearing from Julian about you know, the need to understand this end-to-end piece and, you know, the customer experience of application delivery, we have very clever reporting. I'm just looking for WAN governance, reporting and governance tools that sit within our network environment. So as customers are consuming this this technology at the edge, right down to mobile devices and tablets, we can actually look at the experience that needs to be delivered across applications that are needed to conduct their work. So we can look at the business applications. We can say, you know, what parameters do they need to operate in to be able to meet the needs of users, and we can define that first, and it's like a fluid bandwidth control that right across the organization as a whole and all of the users, we can dynamically manage and control the bandwidth that's delivered to meet the critical business applications, as opposed to this world of, you know, the consumerization of IT, the blending of the personal apps with the business apps, you know, shrink down what's available for the consumable or the personal apps and make the stuff available, make the bandwidth available for the applications that they use to support your business. So, you know, lots of clever stuff up there. So coming back to the cloud idea, well, does cloud work for telephony? Well, there's lots of different types of clouds out there. You know, there's lots of talk about how cloud environments are changing. There's the sort of public clouds where it's more of a consumable type application. And what we decided to do was to build out private cloud application environments for customers to deliver telephony services and applications. So of course we still deliver telephony systems and services on premise. You know, we work with customers to deliver up in their own data centers, but we've also using our data center environment to host dedicated systems for customers as well. So, you know, taking away the management and control and overhead, and, you know, some of the great work we've done, I'll pick up on a case study, but you know, I talked about where you've got lots and lots of different systems that can be distributed. You know, a long-standing client of ours, Trailfinders, 26 different locations. Each one had a different telephone system. Each one had a call recording solution and a contact center solution. They had you know, lots of ISDN channels for making and receiving calls. These guys were handling and do handle over 5 million inbound calls a year into their telephony platform. And what we were able to do was to review where they're at, redesign the telecoms infrastructure, and move it into a cloud environment, into 2 resilient hubs, so that we could deliver applications and services from a core. You know, a centralized management pool of licensing, a lot easier to be able to control and react and change accordingly. You know, move to this world of centralized resource as well. Why have lots of individual capacity that you're paying for, where you've got to have spare capacity? You know, why pay for that when you have the multiplier effect of, you know, 20% multiplied by 26 locations? That's kind of mad. You know, our idea was, well, why didn't you bring it into a core and actually reduce and scale down the resourcing that you need and treat this as an overall system that's needed across the organization? For those guys, we stripped out a ton of costs for them. You know, we moved them from what was 1,400 telephone lines down to just over 500 telephone lines. No impact to their business, right? So we stripped, you know, if you take the cost of an ISDN line at £13.50 per channel per month, we move them to SIP, £5 per channel per month. Massive, massive cost saving. And we use that cost saving to invest in new technology to keep moving their business forward. And that's really, you know, that's the role that I see that Britannic have and organizations in this market today should be having, is to look at how we can work with customers to review how they're operating and use innovation and new technology and new infrastructure and choices and options to be able to help support the way in which technology is served up and delivered to people. Yeah. So we've got lots of skills and lots of things within the kit bag we can help customers with. So in-house development team, very experienced team within Britannic. So you know, a lot of people have been in the organisation a long time. You know, we've got our own development team. We've got ex-Via staff working in the business. We understand this technology inside out. You know, we integrate with telephony platforms and software applications, and we can build automation. And I'll come on to some of the apps there as well. So, lots of partners that we work with. This to me is the important thing, is what you're trying to do is deliver the same user experience, you know, irrespective of where the technology is delivered from, whether it's on premise, whether it's virtualized, whether it's in the data center, or whether it's the cloud, the user shouldn't know any difference, right? You know, by moving to a centralized environment, it's a lot easier to push technology out to the edge to people and control it from a central point. The other thing is, it also becomes a lot easier to start to undertake pilots and evaluation of technology as well. Because if you want to see how it's going to work and different users and get the adoption going, you can implement it at a core and you can start to push it out to users at the edge as they require. So, you know, I see our role is very much one of, again, you know, what's the environment that works best for a customer? You know, we're not pushing people down a particular route and say this is, you know, this is all we do. You know, we've got the full spectrum of offerings and services to work with customers. We still support telephone systems that we sold to market over 20 years ago, right? You know, using analog technology. And I think that's the important thing, is that customers, you know, their curve of adoption will be different. Yeah, so it depends upon where people are at, the users, the drivers within the business. You know, when that technology was invested in, what the write-down period is. So it's a case of working with customers to look at best practice. Yes, where we can strip costs out. Yes, where we can meet the needs of resilience and business continuity. You know, some new initiatives about how we improve the way in which people consume technology to be more efficient and communicate better, and, you know, share documents, you know, the collaboration requirements. All of these things can be delivered, but it's at the right pace to meet the needs of the customer. So we work with them to build out relevant plans. Some of the technology we've got within our core, NetX is one of ours, which is a SIP offering, SIP exchange. And you know, who uses SIP trunking at the moment? Okay, us. Who's heard of SIP trunking? Yeah. So what's the reason for not using it today?
For us, it's just head office. So we're not quite there. It's still TDM.
Yeah.
Yeah. So IP and SIP, just they're call centres, not for capital markets businesses. So it's just risk averse.
Okay. And you know what? I think this is a common trend, because SIP is seen as you know, new technology, isn't it? Yeah. It's one of those things that, you know, people are going to sit on the edge for a little while, and, you know, they'll, again, curve of adoption. Are we an early innovator, an early adopter, or are we going to wait to hear what the problems are and wait for those to be worked out before we go and implement it? What I would say is, as a business, we saw the opportunity with SIP a long time ago, right? So I remember phoning around all the different carriers, and, you know, we'd been providing MPLS networking and phone systems, IP phone systems for many years, and we kind of thought, well, that's great, you know, yes, we can do all these inter-site calls over IP, but wasn't voice over IP supposed to be about calls over an internet protocol and delivering cost saving? Wasn't that really what it was all about, you know, back in 2000? Well, if that's the case, then can we not do that? Can we not deliver it to market? So I phoned, I phoned through all the carriers, and nobody could do it, right? You know, it was a case of, oh, we can't deliver SIP, we're not ready for it. And this was back in 2004, where you thought, well, you know what, no is not good enough. You know, we want to look at what the options are, and we want to innovate for customers. You know, we know there's some big benefits, we know there's cost savings, and we know there's actually some great resilience that we can deliver through this technology. So we came across one carrier that was prepared to say, okay, you know what, guys, let's talk. Let's find out what you're trying to do, and let's look at how we can work with you to get there. So that carrier was Global Crossing, who are now level 3. And we worked with them, we built gateway technology, and they made changes to their network to be able to support this gateway that we created. So back in 2004, we were using a technology called Bride Portal, created by us, that we could interface into telephone systems and deliver SIP trunking, right? So when we rolled out telephony across 5,500 users across regional government offices, they had no ISDN infrastructure. Yeah, 2005, no ISDN infrastructure, everything was over SIP. Yeah, massive cost savings, great flexibility, reduction in resource, hot desking throughout the whole estate. You know, that was pretty cool. Yeah. You're now hearing about new entrants coming to market. You know, I was having a conversation with James earlier about our friends at BT, who we've got a mutual customer, and they've had some. You know, they've been delivered, or just really come to market with an offering for the business community with SIP, and there's been some challenges there actually around natively integrating it into an IP platform for a customer. So you know what, we're now going to be doing that for the customer. We actually use BT as our ironically as our delivery mechanism for SIP. So there's we connect into the BT network, multiple connections. But we've built out this very, very intelligent core for managing the SIP delivery, yeah, based upon what now 8-9 years worth of experience. So where you've got a lot of people coming to market, you know what, they've got to go through the learning curve. They've got to go through all the things that we've gone through over 8-9 years. What we've done very well with customers is we've set up pilots and evaluations, because that very thing, oh my God, is it actually going to work? What's the quality going to be like? You know, is it going to be available? What happens if we lose our telephone calls? Yeah, it's too big an impact for the business. Well, I'll go back to Trailfinders. 95% of all their revenues are actually conducted over the telephone, right? So if that's not going to work, you know, I can assure you the chairman of Trailfinders is going to be picking the phone up to us. You know, they moved from ISP infrastructure to SIP because the chairman of Trailfinders picked the phone up to us when somebody cut through the 210 telephone lines on ISDN that went into their main travel centre on the busiest day of the year, one Saturday in January, and they lost a ton of business. And we've been talking to them about it, and they were, you know, do we go with SIP, or is it ready? It was a very quick decision after that. Yeah, we undertook a pilot with them, we proved it, we've done this time and time again, and when people understand the quality and the resilience and the cost savings that can be achieved with SIP, we see a move to it. Yeah, so just something to be aware of. NetConnect. So we talked about CTI in Terry's presentation, and you know the benefits of really connecting the right customer need and call and inquiry to the right person to deal with that inquiry. You know, Terry was talking about integration with things such as Salesforce and Link. And again, you know, we've been working in this space, it's over 15 years now, and we saw the benefits that can be delivered from a point of view of much greater efficiency in how people dealt with customers, personalising service. You know, when someone phones in, you know who they are, you've got their information to hand. You know, you don't want to have to keep repeating yourself. So we created CTI technology. We were delivering to customers. It was generally bespoke work, right? We're saying, well, this is mad. You know, each time we do it, it takes us a load of time, costs the customer a load of money. So what we're going to do, oh, we moved on. I don't want that to go. 10 minutes I'll be okay, because I'm nearly done now, but I'll postpone it for 10 minutes. That'll give me the countdown clock. Yeah, the CTI stuff. We decided we're going to go and create a middleware layer. So one of the challenges you got with CTI is you've got a software application over here and a phone system over here, and if the stuff changes in the software app or the phone system, it can break the links. So that's not very good. You know, if you're buying into technology to make stuff easier, if it breaks, that's not good at all. So we created a middleware app so that there's this thing in the middle that just makes the connection a lot easier and a lot simpler, so it will have tolerance for change. And then we thought, okay, that's really good. Now let's go and talk to not just customers, but a load of software companies, because this is really clever stuff. So we're actually delivering our CTI software out through not just directly to our customers, but out through distribution and out through software companies themselves. You know, we're working with some global software providers that have embedded our code and our technology into their platforms to link with phone systems. And again, you know, in the early days, we were only working across 2 different phone system types, and you know what, the world isn't like that. People have lots of different phone systems. You know, they might want to move to a single vendor and a single strategy, but the reality is they might acquire an organisation, they might have legacy technology there, and actually if my software will only work across one phone system, it's not very good, is it? So we've integrated across over 63 different phone system types. You know, I think there's 67 software applications we integrate with. And if people are then looking at how do you create these links, how do you do the screen pop, the click to dial, you know, the sort of preference-based routing, how do I do all of that? Well, if there isn't an API in your software available, we've got a toolkit that we provide where we work with software vendors, we work with customers to just get the stuff in there and get it working. That's why our number of software apps that we work with continues to increase, because it's just easy to do. And then invariably, those software companies start to recommend us and sell that technology to market as well. So very important from an integration perspective. Got a challenge now. My laptop is frozen. There's a build, right? That's screen popping. I'll skip on the connectivity. It's very important. It's very important to find a partner that's got skills to support you. As I said, we'll provide these slides. We've got a lot of skills, 28 years in business. It's not just about providing phone systems and data networking. It's also about new wave skills, virtualization skills, cloud environments, and as I said, interestingly, cloud enabling other people's stuff as well. So if you're going to move to a data center environment, there's a number of challenges of moving applications into that space. We know how to do this. We've been doing it for a few years now. So we've got a lot of experience to share with you. So, can you use the cloud for voice? Yes, you can. I know that because we've got lots of customers doing it with us. So we could share the examples with you. Managing the migration, very, very important. You know, if I can see the benefit of the new technology, how do I get from here to here? Because it's a bit of a journey. So what we do is we sit down with customers, we look at where they're at, and we build out a roadmap. We build out a strategy for change. We audit what's there. We look at the operational needs. We try and you know, challenge thinking and understand what the future is going to look like as well. So we've written 3-year roadmaps and strategy plans for customers that they've had signed off within the business to go and deploy. And it's very much a case of, it's not, you know, it doesn't have to be a big bang approach. It's very much a case of migrating from where you're at today through these different phases and steps. We use Prince 2 project management in the business, you know, put a lot of time into building out these templates and the processes to migrate through the steps, working with existing supply chains to manage that progression of technology. You know, to us, it's not about project management, it's about program management and life cycle change that we go through. And there's a bit of stuff there as well to support that. In my last 2 minutes before the laptop turns off, what I'll do is just very quickly talk through a customer. I asked them a few questions, and I've got a few comments from them in this slide deck as well. So, customer, Kent Messenger, long-standing client of ours, 340 staff spanning 12 locations, call centre in there, radio phoning system, you know, mobile workforce as part of this as well. And you know, the challenges they had was, you know, we looked after some of the estate, we looked after some of the services. They had mixed telephone systems, different manufacturers, different software levels. You know, if they wanted to make a change over here, they had to go and do that. They had to go and replicate it over there. It was a real overhead to manage. Yeah. They also had, on top of that, they wanted to differentiate in their call center. You know, they really wanted to generate greater revenues, and they wanted to get the sales closed when people called in, and they wanted to create cross-sell and upsell opportunity. So they knew they needed to improve the call center reporting and call handling and management of that function as well. They wanted to introduce call recording so they could listen and understand the experience that customers were getting when they called in, and use that technology to train and manage staff development as well. They were having their telecoms manager leaving the business, and they were also moving the head office, right? So lots and lots of stuff going on, and they're saying to us, help. What do we do? And I sat down with the account manager and the operations director in their business, member of operations staff, the IT staff, and we just talked through. We ran a workshop, talked through what we could do, how we could help, and the process we'd go through. And then there was a series of reviews that were done within their business to look at how they were using technology, the cost infrastructure, and also challenge how people were working from a point of view of how could we improve together. Yeah, annual cost, just under £113,000 for those guys. That's including the telecoms manager, or the network, the calls, the phone systems, and so on. And then we put a new system in for them, and we reduced their costs by 46%. Huge cost saving, and we delivered a managed service as part of that as well. So I asked him, why move to the cloud? Well, we've put all of our publishing stuff into the cloud. We wanted to do the same with our other systems, our telecoms infrastructure. We wanted to be in the hands of the experts. We wanted to reduce our costs. We wanted to be clear and reduce our costs moving forward. And we wanted greater flexibility and to be able to add the latest technology. What benefits have you realised? Effective and efficient management of the systems, removal of these internal roles because this guy was going, operating costs have been reduced, business continuity, customers contact staff who move locations, work from home on the mobile phones, and we can retain contact irrespective of where people are. What advice would you give? Choose the right partner and factor in the right level of ongoing support. There's more comments there from him, but it was about working with them to not just go in and talk about acronyms and technology. It was just go in and say, look, where are you? What do you want to do? And how do we work together to get there? Take the jargon and complexity out and build out a plan that was right for them, and then manage and execute that plan. How was the changeover? It was very good. And again, we can put you in touch with other customers we've worked with to share our experience of how we've managed technology transition. So, benefits of integrated solutions. What I would say is, the technology that you've seen today and the way in which we're delivering and working with customers is you definitely can start to change the way in which your organisations are operating. You can improve the agility, the flexibility, you can have this collaborative working, the sort of always-on culture. You can improve the efficiency of people, but also the technology becomes easier to manage. Terry was talking about the sort of interfaces for managing the systems today, which are dramatically improved compared to how they were in the past. The idea of a TDM telephone infrastructure and needing to move people around just the office, what an overhead that is. Whereas in an IP world, I unplug a phone, I plug it in at a different location, and it's connected, right? Same sort of principle. I can do this at home as well. I can have mobile users accessing my technology irrespective of location, on the mobile phone, on the iPad, at home, in other offices. And it supports change. As the organisation grows and evolves, technology plays a really key part in efficiently managing that change, scaling the business. Terry's example of call centre reporting could tell you that you've got 20 staff in the call centre, maybe you need 15. Well, actually, you know what? As I said, if you're growing the organisation, what staff do you need to add in? What skill set? Where are they? What could you achieve with the same number of people? Doing that more for less. And what role does technology have to play within that? So, can you achieve improvements? Yes, you can. We've got a very clear vision. We've got a lot of experience in this marketplace. We can help you solve current challenges and chaos within the telecoms world with the expert tools and people and partners that we have. We can help you navigate and plan your path for the future. So, yes, that's my salesy bit, you know, partner with Britannic Technologies to successfully chart your course to major business advantage. So depending upon where you're at, where you want to get to, you know, we can work together to look at the best way to move forward, reduce complexity, and deliver effective technology to you, your business, your staff, and your customers. So thank you for your time.